What question should we ask when we are trying to find that next trucking job as truck drivers? It does not matter if you're new to trucking, you're coming in maybe from a trucking school that you just completed, or even if you're a seasoned driver. Of course, as seasoned drivers, you may have a lot more experience and insight into different companies that you have worked for, and you get to see the patterns throughout your trucking career. But if we are new to the industry, we especially need to ask this question: what kind of customer base do you have in your company? And what we are referring to is the shippers, where we pick up loads as truck drivers. And these can be places like Walmart DC, this could be Dollar Tree, this could be dry freight, reefer freight. What kind of customers does this company have? Because when we get into the job and we are there sitting on a shipper for 6 to 8 hours, we don't want to be in that situation because we did not know what kind of customers they had. And it's very important coming into the industry, especially if you just maybe graduated from a trucking school, or maybe you just got your Class A CDL. Be sure to ask this question, because what will happen is once you're into the company and the recruiter told you, yes, we have these miles for you, yes, we have these, kinds of customers, but in reality, you find out the real truth sitting at a shipper, and then your paycheck starts to suffer. So having an understanding of what kind of customers they have is very important, because the customer base is going to give us a good idea whether we want to work for this company or not, because it's a matter of driving 1,000 miles per week as solo drivers, or a matter of getting more than 3,000 miles a week as solo drivers. It matters. It matters for your paycheck. It matters for your career, for your family. If you have kids, for your kids, and just anything that you're trying to accomplish, maybe pay off debt and things like this. The next time that we talk with a recruiter, let that be a leading question. What kind of customers do you have? And again, we can add, some companies, they advertise a high CPM. Oh yeah, you with less than 1 year experience, you can come in making 70 cents, per mile. But when you get into the company, you realize they don't have the customer base, they don't have the mileage to give you. We have a guy backing up behind here. Let's get interrupted here real quick. Make sure he doesn't hit that trailer. I am sharing these things from experience with you. I did go into a company one time and they advertised a high CPM. And when I got there, I realized that they did not have the customer base. I was sitting at a shipper unloading some tires for like 6 hours, and I lost a lot of miles that day. What they give back in detention does not match up to what you could have received in mileage down the road. Also, when I realized that there are companies that do this, I learned to appreciate other companies that do have the customer base. They've been around a long time. They have awards of safety and being the best carrier for that customer. They have a good safety rating. They make sure they know who they are hiring. There's a lot of elements involved that make a good trucking company. And I know that we cannot get all the information up front from the recruiter. We actually have to sometimes just work for a company, maybe for a few months or 6 months, just to get a feel of the pattern. And especially if you've been at a company for 1 year, maybe you did not like what they were doing over that year. You saw the pattern, you weren't getting the mileage that you wanted. Maybe your dispatch manager started to be rude to you, and the relationship started to just go sour. And so I know there's a lot of other things involved in a company, trucking company, but let's make sure that we ask that question. What kind of customers do you guys have? Can you give me the mileage? I don't want to just, take your word for it. Give me some examples, what y'all have done as a company, and the credibility and strength that y'all have in the trucking industry. I hope that this was helpful. If you're coming into the industry, hats off to those that have been driving for 10, 15, 20 years. We appreciate, your sacrifice and hard work out there. If you'd like to share some of your experience, put it in the comments, or maybe you'd like to share some tips too for some of us that might be looking for a trucking job. And what should we ask that recruiter? What should we ask that company to make sure that we're going to be positioned in a good place to get a good paycheck, to take care of ourselves and to take care of our family and to accomplish the goals that we have as truck drivers. This is James with Survivors Truck Talk. Don't forget to subscribe to our trucking channel to receive more trucking content and things related to the trucking industry.